Hello everyone! Polyship mood continues, so I'm back with some SemiShiraKawaGata, my beloveds. I'm honestly not sure where I was going with this, but I guess I just need some fluff with them, so have fluff! As always, special thanks to my lovely patrons. You are keeping this channel going. It was one of those days when Semi just couldn't sit still for more than a few minutes. He tried everything. Composing, reading, just jamming along his swirling thoughts. He even tried to take a nap after Shirabu's suggestion that he was just tired. But nothing helped. And the situation was slowly becoming critical. Not necessarily because he would mind it himself, but rather because his constant fidgeting was visibly driving his boyfriends crazy. Shirabu's eye rolls were becoming more frequent than ever, accompanied by sighing in the last half an hour or so. Taichi was too nice to say anything, but Semi knew him long enough to recognize the nervous twitching of his fingers. And Hayato was apparently amused, judging by the smile tugging in the corner of his mouth whenever Semi moved. It was just a question of time when one of them would snap. Unsurprisingly, as soon as he moved yet again to change sitting position, a loud groan sounded from beside him. "Can you stop moving for 10 minutes? What are you, a shark?" Semi raised his hands in defense. "It's not my fault. If it wasn't pouring outside, I would go for a run or something." "Don't say that twice before I kick you out on the rain anyway, because this is horrible." Hayato barked a short laugh and leaned back against Taichi's legs. "You know it's bad when a doctor wants you to get sick." "I don't want him to get sick. I am sick of him still moving in my peripheral vision." "Well, sorry my unrest bothers you so much." He decided not to add the more bitey note he had in mind, already seeing Taichi's posture tensing up. Hayato had to notice it too, as he immediately reached up over his head to squeeze Taichi's hand. As always, his touch had an almost miraculous effect on Taichi, relaxing him almost instantly. Semi let out a relieved breath. He could deal with Shirabu being annoyed, but he would rather go running into the rain after all than distress Taichi with their arguments. "Then why don't we do something together? I mean, we are together, but everyone is doing their own thing." "I suggested we do a movie marathon." He motioned to Semi and Shirabu. These two were against. "I told you I don't have mind to watch anything today." "But you have mind to read?" "That's not the same." "How come? Movies are too simple for your big brain?" "Hey, enough you two." Shivering slightly under Hayato's pointed glare, Semi clapped his mouth shut, guilt jabbing in his chest upon seeing the way Taichi clung to Hayato's hand. He reached over the couch corner to gently pat Taichi's other hand. "Sorry." "Yeah, my bad. Sorry." Some of the tension disappeared from Taichi's shoulders, but it still took a long while before he relaxed again. "It's fine. But I think it could help if we do something together." "Okay, then. Any ideas?" "I'm not playing any board games with you. I don't need to listen to Hayato's whining when he loses." Hayato pouted, but stayed quiet, and Semi snickered. Despite usually taking losses in volleyball quite well, Hayato's grumbling and huffing whenever he was losing in board games was known to everyone from his friend group. And no one knew better he was a sore loser than the three of them. "Not fair." Then his face suddenly brightened. "How about building a blanket fort?" Shirabu made a grimace, but Semi was sure he didn't imagine the excited twinkle in his eyes. "What are we, 4? "Oh, come on, Kenjiro. One has to return to childhood sometimes." "I think it's a great idea." Shirabu rolled his eyes. "Of course, you are both the same." "But it sounds fun." Grinning, Hayato jumped up from the floor, pulling Taichi on his feet too. Alright, by the rules of democracy, you've been overruled, Kenjiro. Ugh, fine. But I'll be a supervisor. I don't trust you two with building something that won't fall on our heads. Semi chuckled and followed Hayato into their bedroom to fetch as many blankets as possible. He held his arms out for Hayato to pile the blankets on them, smile on both of their faces. Pretty cool, eh? Who would have thought we could convince Kenjiro to build a blanket fort? I'm pretty sure he's as excited as you. He just won't show it because of his pride. But just you wait, he's going to be commanding us around the moment we start. Oh, definitely. Can't miss the opportunity to order us around. And then take credit for all the work. They both chuckled, but Semi knew there was more than just a little fondness in their words. Hayato was right after all. Convincing Shirabu to join their sillier ideas was often an inhuman task, and the fact that he agreed so fast this time was incredible. If it was because he felt bad for stressing Taichi, or because he secretly wanted to play around too, he wasn't sure. But in the end, the important thing was the result. He snapped out of his thoughts when Hayato nudged his side and carefully rotated him back to the door. Come on, let's get started before he changes his mind. With his hands still laid on Semi's shoulders, he led him through the hallways to the living room, where Taichi was already busy with putting aside the hoard of pillows Shirabu insisted on having there at all times. Semi huffed quietly as he threw the pile of blankets on the couch, grumbling under his breath about having to do all the heavy lifting. Where's Kenji? Taichi wavered under the impact of Hayato's body when the libero wrapped his arms around his waist, and then a tiny squeal escaped his mouth when Hayato picked him up from the floor, giggling like a little kid. In the kitchen. He said he will get us some snacks. Get myself some snacks. He still came back with several packages and bowls filled with everything from candy to chips, and Semi smirked at him. Right, just for yourself. Shirabu looked away, a little pout forming on his lips, but nothing could hide his reddening cheeks. You would be stealing them anyway, so it's better to be prepared. He pushed the salty snacks closer to Taichi, leaving the rest gathered in the center of the coffee table before he settled on the floor. Semi suppressed the chuckle already halfway from his mouth, and instead just grinned when he ruffled Shirabu's hair, earning a death stare, which impact was significantly lessened by the adorable pink tint spread over his cheeks. He decided not to provoke Shirabu further, knowing that despite being a doctor, he was indeed able to eat everything he brought himself, probably only leaving some of the salty stuff for Taichi, and instead threw some of the blankets at Hayato. Alright then, you do the right side, I do the left, and we meet in the middle. You sure that's how it's supposed to be built? I am, trust me. I've built enough blanket forts with my sister to know how to do it. Taichi, can you hold this for me, please? Taichi quickly lent a hand, holding the edge of the blanket in place while Semi threw another one over it, securing it with pillows. He raised his eyebrow when Hayato snorted a short laugh. You call yourself an expert and you still call Tai to help in the first second. Oh, so you can do better? I have two sisters, remember? I'm basically an architect. And here they go again. Isn't it our collective work? I'm sure you both will do great. As always, Hayato was the first one to react to Taichi's words, and more importantly, the worry hidden in between the lines. He gave Taichi a soft smile, keeping the challenging one for Semi. No worries, Tai. We aren't arguing. Just a little friendly competition, right? Bring it on! Dividing their attention between building and fending off each other's occasional sabotage attempts, the work on the fort went steadily forward. Shirabu let himself be heard occasionally in between munching on the snacks, offering mostly unsolicited advice about the steadiness of the whole construction, all while Taichi jumped between them, offering help where needed. But the steady work, accompanied by heartfelt laughter and half-hearted jabs, did wonders to Semi's mind. The uneasy feeling from before was nowhere to be seen for as long as both his hands and mind were busy, letting him enjoy the moments spent together in full. And even Taichi seemed much more relaxed and even smiled from time to time, which was definitely the biggest victory. It didn't take long before the fort stood finished in its full blanket glory. The star-shaped fairy lights hung inside. Hayato's idea, giving it soft, almost fairy tale-like vibes. I think we can finish the competition on a draw. Agreed. It looks great. Hayato grinned from ear to ear, immediately taking hold of Taichi's hand to guide him inside the fort. What are we waiting for then? That no one had to tell Semi twice. He snatched some of the candy packets Shirabu hadn't torn into yet and dove into the fortress, settling on the soft mattress made of their fluffiest blankets and pillows. Or rather the remaining part. He frowned slightly and prodded Hayato's legs. Stop hogging all space for yourself. Hayato stuck his tongue out at him, but shuffled a bit to the side to make more space, pulling Taichi pretty much on his lap. And stop hogging Taichi for yourself too. It's not fair. Too bad. I got him first. Please don't fight. No, let them fight. Bringing in the remaining snacks, Shirabu plopped down on the pillows and reached for Taichi, making a grabby gesture with his hand. Their pea-sized brains can only focus on one thing and won't notice they lost the snacks and the one they were fighting for before it's too late. What does that even mean? Semi rolled his eyes. Calling us stupid and threatening to steal everything from us at the same time? Have you no class, Kenji? Before Shirabu managed to respond, Semi wrapped his arm around his waist and pulled him between himself and Taichi, a soft grin appearing on his lips with Shirabu's surprised squeal. I guess we will have to take on radical measures then. Let me go, you absolute brute! Nah, he's right. The sweets are ours now. Semi snorted a short laugh before joining Hayato in squeezing their boyfriends between them. Indeed, the real sweets were theirs and only theirs. No one and nothing could ever take them away from them as long as they had a saying in it. In the end, they managed to settle in a way that everyone was comfortable but still snuggled together on one cuddle pile. Semi sighed happily, his arms wrapped around Shirabu while having Taichi leaning on his shoulder and his fingers running through Hayato's hair. If there was a paradise on the earth, he was sure he just found it. It didn't take long before the soft munching of the various snacks mixed with chatter started to quiet down, until eventually the only sound that remained was their even, soft breathing as they slowly fell into slumber. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. It's good to be back to my OG Polyship. I missed them. I need to do more with them. I have a long list of ideas for them, so they will be back, definitely. If you have any requests or ideas, the request form is linked in the video description. See you next time!